Or two. Oh, all right. Jenny's ready recorded. So I'll give us a little intro here. Welcome everybody to the May Tempo Community Call. I'd like to thank everybody for showing up, and we got a little agenda here, and I'll share my screen here in a second. If there's anything you want to bring up or have any questions about anything, feel free to raise your hand, put in chat, interrupt, whatever it takes to get some attention and jump in. So with that all being said, let's try to share a screen. One labeled Tempo Community Call. Enhance, enhance, enhance. Because it doesn't work if you don't say it. All right. Got a pretty good amount of attendees here. So I'm going to go through the agenda. If it happens to be something that someone here on the Tempo team worked on, feel free to jump in and start talking about it. So we did a Go update. Was this a security one, or was this a something else one?
.3 was security. I think it was something related to the OS name it, or the OS module package, which we don't use. I don't think we used it, but whatever. It was just kind of like, I might as well keep up to date instead of, not being up to date, I suppose. So I don't think it impacted us, but yeah, 1 or 2.8 will have us completely up to date on Go.
Great. Panic fix. I assume this is one of yours, Joe.
Yeah, so we fixed a handful in the past month, 2 months. I don't know how long I've been working on this, but this was the final one. It was the hardest to find. It involved a fix here as well as one in the Parquet Go dependency, which just got merged yesterday. So I would be a little shocked if people saw it. You didn't have to have cache turned on, but page caching definitely made it way more likely. And we, I believe, completely patched it up. So if you were seeing panics like this, that should be fixed in 2.8.
Mm-hmm. That's, I think we've kind of went on a tear about fixing panics. So if anybody sees any after this, I think that would be interesting to rise up and notify us about.
Mm-hmm. The worst was fixed in 2.7, and then there'll be 2 more in 2.8.
And then we have a TraceQL query fix. Also, Joe, this existence problem.
This is a weird one. It was related to how we treated the concept of nil in the language, and how it was actually treated a little bit differently depending on where you put it in the query. So myself and Marty, and I think Adrian got together. Suraj is on that issue. Suraj has some really good input. But we tightened up how you're allowed to use nil in the language, which helped basically make everything else consistent. And we've removed no features. We just removed the ability to do like group by nil or some other bizarre things that were technically possible before. But now you can only kind of compare equality or inequality to nil. So we've tightened things up, and it was kind of a unexpected issue, just weird behavior between those two. Span.food is not equal bar, and then that second one didn't behave the way people would have expected, I think. So anyways, this should be fixed up. I think it's all good. It's part of the theme, I think, of 2.8, and generally the team is to improve correctness of the language, both for metrics and just search.
And we have some front-end caching. This is also you, Joe.
I did that one too, yeah. Okay, so there's a bug in TraceQL metrics in 2.7 where cache keys will collide if you have more than one job per block. So if you have larger blocks, cache keys will collide, and it made the very first query correct. And then if you hit refresh, the second query would be slightly wrong. It'd kind of jump if you hit, run a query, run the exact same one a second time, because the cache would be incorrect, but the original query was right. And so this just breaks the collision. And so cache is correct now for TraceQL metrics queries. Check that out.
All right. Memory improvements. Oh, this is Marty, not Joe.
Marty's not here because he's at GrafanaCon, which is awesome. I can talk about this too. Does anybody else know what happened here? Anybody else is welcome to jump in if they want.
I see that Zach left a nice. I don't know if that.
So Zach knows all about it. What's up, Zach?
Well, you can see from that graph, yeah, those spikes are removed. So that's looking pretty good. And look at those benchmarks.
Solid
This is
benchmarks.
actually pretty incredible to go from what 26 roughly to 6.
Yeah, scroll down a little bit. I think that last benchmark shows the goodies. Oh no, it's actually not as good.
The
Yeah,
issue was
let's
with
look at this one then.
pooling. So we were pooling objects too aggressively. And if you had very large traces, so like 50, 100 meg large traces, we would pool those as well in an attempt to reduce memory. But this would actually balloon memory significantly and with not much benefit. And so the fix was to just pool way less aggressively. And so Marty spent some time kind of getting the balance right to pool enough that it helped, because some helps, but if you do too much, then suddenly you're holding gigabytes in your pool for no reason, which is what happened here.
Cool. All right, we got a Mac series. Jennifer.
Is Spam on? I don't think she
I
is.
see her little icon.
Oh, she is. Maybe not.
You're muted if you're talking.
Suraj probably knows about it because he did Top K. If you want to talk, Suraj.
Yeah, I mean, Max series is basically before this, you could write a query that's like group by span ID and get like a bazillion series back, and it would blow out your query front end and queries. With this, you now can enforce like how many series you want back. So it's also, it will not blow up your cluster, and also you will get meaningful amount of series back. If you hit that, we return a warning also. Not sure if the front end is there yet, but yeah, you will know that you've been limited. And FAM did all the work on this.
Oh. And I believe you also have the next one. Top K, bottom K.
Yeah, so this is interesting because this now opens the door for what I call second stage functions. So first stage is your traceQL filter qualifier. Second stage is your metrics. So you can do traceQL and then you can do like rate by something. And that would give you a series that is pretty much like a Prometheus series, and customers was like, I want to do more Prometheus-like functions on those metrics that were generated on the fly. So we added this second stage functions, and first two functions that are added are top K and bottom K. So let's say you write a query that returns 100 series, but you're only interested in top 10. You can just do top K10 and you'll get top 10 series. And the top K and bottom K behavior is similar to PromQL behavior. So let's say you do top K10, but you see more than 10 series. That's by design because we do top K per step, per time step. So like there, it's possible that you have some series disappear in the middle and new series show up in the window. So overall number of series might be more than the K that you've asked. Yeah, that's it. The demo video shows it in action. If you want to see, go watch that video. That's all.
I think having a video is super cool for anything like this. So I think that really like extra mile there. All right. What's next? We got something about this Qbased architecture. I'm sure someone here can chat about that.
No. I added this point. I think I kind of said Qbased architecture in prod because I think it's right on the edge. I'd like Mario to comment real fast. I think he's rolling our first production cluster to our what we call Rhythm, with basically our Qbased architecture.
Don't tell anyone.
Oh, my bad. Not happening.
Yeah. So this is a long-running project in Tempo. We're changing the architecture to solve a couple of problems that we have right now. And this new architecture includes a queue, decouples read and write path. We've talked about it a couple of times. But essentially, we have half of the changes, sort of, which already gives us some benefits, more correctness for metrics, and more stability in a couple of components. And we're starting the rollouts to some production cells. We're starting with small ones, just testing the process. These changes that we're deploying right now have been extensively tested in our internal classes, and they've been running for over a month already. So we're quite confident on what we're deploying, but we'll still be cautious and rolling out slowly. But if it goes well, we'll ramp up the rollouts of the new architecture, and hopefully we'll like the benefits will hit more and more production cells. So yeah, you can expect metrics to be a little bit more correct now than they were before.
I doubt, because I should have asked you beforehand, but I know we've done ops, and ops was a very, very large cluster, right? It's a couple hundred megabytes a second. Do you have any idea what the TCO change is yet? Or maybe we could say that for next month. That might be a good thing to share with the community, TCO difference between current tempo and the rhythm style tempo.
Yeah, I don't have the numbers right now. We also need to account the TCO of the queue, and we don't have good numbers about it right now because we're sharing it with all the teams as well. But yeah.
All right.
I have a graph and numbers and Chinese stuff for the next call.
All right. We have a question from Andre. Are we already running RF1 internally?
Well, yes and no. We're running RF1 in some parts of Tempo. I mean, I can speak about rhythm for hours, but to be brief, we've only migrated for now the metrics generator and a new component called the block builder, which is now tasked with building these new RF1 blocks. So what this allows us is to, in the backend, in the object storage, when querying not recent data, to query those new RF1 blocks instead of the R3 blocks from the ingesters. This is the state of the project right now, and this is what we're running internally we've been running for many weeks now, and even more in depth, and that we're rolling out to some production cells or clusters.
Right, which I think is basically RF1. There's a second phase of this project, which will reduce TCO more and will better consolidate the recent queries to the ingesters. But are we running it RF1 internally? Yes, in our dev cells, as well as what we call ops, which is like our internal operational cluster, and then one prod cell kind of right in the middle of it, I think, is what's happening. Is that right? Should I bring that up, or am I cursing it somehow? Am I jinxing it? Is it going to get paged?
Yeah, who's on call? I think so. But yeah, we're currently only missing RF1 in recent reads. The rest, it's hitting RF1 for the backend, and even for metric queries, it's also querying RF1 data.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're getting that.
Cool. And I put Tempo 3.0 kind of at the end of this question. I asked the question because I wanted Mario to answer it, because I was pretty sure we were somewhere in the middle of it. And then Tempo 3.0 is going to be based on this. We've talked about this a lot over the past months. This new architecture is going to be complete. Once we have it complete and we're running it confidently, we'll cut a 3.0 maybe this fall. Maybe it'll be the last release of the year. Not sure. No timeline there, but we are running it, and it is a major priority of the team. I'd say it is the major priority of the team, is cleanly swapping over to this. However, I also put next set of problems, because as we are seeing the light at the end of the tunnel for rhythm, as we're seeing us actually start to roll it out and jumping the major and most difficult hurdles, I wanted the community to know we're kind of thinking about, well, what's next? And we're going to start seed projects to explore the thanks, Mario. Start seed projects for and thoughts about what's next for Tempo. And the next challenge for Tempo, we believe, is the read speed, the cost of reads, and reducing latency on all queries, with an eye on, we're going to say 10x because everybody says 10x, but that doesn't matter. The goal is to identify the major problems and to massively improve our read. And our current major problem, and we've spent months repeatedly saying this, writing design docs, finding improvements that don't work out quite like we thought. And the major problem is that everything is everywhere because we have a giant block sorted by trace ID. So any service, any namespace, any cell is spread somewhat equally over this entire block, and you have to basically look everywhere to find any kind of data. So that's the next set of problems we're really focused on. How do we relieve this? We have a small group this quarter. I'm going to start some experimental work in this direction. Adrian has some really cool ideas. Marty has some cool ideas in this area. So Rhythm is #1 project now, cleaning that up. That's going to be our focus. And then this next step is read performance and scalability on the read path for Tempo. So I'd say that's the next year plus vision. We really want to deliver this much more performant query path as we finish up our RF1 work. But yeah. Any other questions besides me promising Tempo 3.0 for ObsCon? Yeah, sure. You didn't mention the year ObsCon. I guarantee Tempo 3.0 will be delivered before an ObsCon.
Nice, safe.
Heard it here. I do have a question. Is the Tempo 3.0 Qbased architecture, is that replacing any current architecture, or is it a replacement or a new mode of running?
That's a very good question. I think that's something we need to discuss for 3.0. There are many questions regarding other modes of operation rather than what we run most frequently ourselves in Grafana Cloud. That we don't have answers for those. Like monolithic mode is also something we're not sure what we're going to do with. Simple scalable mode. My guess right now would be that it's going to replace the classic Tempo or the current way of running Tempo, because maintaining both would be a lot of effort. But I think nothing's decided yet. So I don't know if anyone disagrees with that.
No, I think that echoes my thoughts as well. I think nothing is decided yet is fair. I am leaning very heavily towards removing the old architecture for the reasons Byron said. Maintaining 2, we're going to have 2 okay options, and we're always going to be fighting bugs and improvements, and performance on the old path is always going to be way worse than the new path. And I think it's just going to be overall a negative for the project, is my opinion. And I think the right choice will be to completely invest in the new path. I think we can make it much better if we're fully focused on it. And it's what we're going to be running anyway. And if it's what we're running in cloud, we work every day to make cloud more performant, right? That impacts our bottom line. So of course we do. And that means you all, the community, the open source community, gets all those improvements. Whereas the old architecture will just languish, and we'll stop doing improvements, we'll stop doing bug fix features. We don't even know about bugs. People will file issues that we can't reproduce because we don't see it anymore, So my opinion is new architecture only, because I think it'll make Tempo better. I think there's a little friction there. I know that imposes things on the community. Like you'll have to find some kind of Kafka implementation or just Kafka. But I think it's the right choice despite despite those issues.
Great. Do we kind of open floor as we're coming here? Does anyone have anything they would like to bring up or any questions they would like to ask?
Nothing. Matt, are we getting beers tomorrow?
Always.
Nice. Okay, good. That's my question.
Yeah. Here, maybe even next week we'll have beers with Mario.
Ooh, a doggo.
Yes.
I was gonna say, don't make sure you guys don't miss the flight the next day, okay?
I've only done that once.
All right. If we don't have anything else, last call for question, comments. All right. Thank you, everybody, for showing up for the May Tempo community call. This will be posted in YouTube here in probably a day or two. And I appreciate everybody coming, and we'll see you later.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.